At BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors. These words, spoken by Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, are unsettling. BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world, handling over $10 trillion in assets. They also own more than 540,000 Bitcoin through their ETF. So, what happens if they start making decisions that affect Bitcoin itself? Could this be the start of Bitcoin becoming truly centralized? And most importantly, is there anything that we can do about it? Let's take a look at the growing influence of big players like BlackRock, the risks to Bitcoin's independence, and how you can help keep Bitcoin decentralized. By the end, I'll teach you the steps to protect Bitcoin's future and its original mission for financial freedom for everyone. So, how big is BlackRock? Well, the short answer is huge. They manage, again, $10 trillion in assets. That's more money than most countries have. They own the largest Bitcoin ETF that holds, again, 540,000 Bitcoin, which many people don't like to admit. It does make them a major voice in the Bitcoin world. But it's not just about Bitcoin itself. BlackRock owns 5.2% of MicroStrategy, the company that holds almost 450,000 Bitcoin alone. So just those two companies right there are already about to surpass Satoshi's wallet. Another thing is BlackRock is investing heavily into big mining companies like Marathon Digital, Riot Platforms, and CleanSpark. Together, these companies claim they have at least enough hash power right now to control 11.5% of Bitcoin's mining power, and they're only expanding their operations. Riot actually owns the world's largest Bitcoin mine in Corsicana, Texas, and they're building 2 more giant facilities. Now, companies like this make it almost impossible to compete for the average home miner, and they also become a huge physical target. But to add on to that, these 3 mining companies hold close to 70,000 Bitcoin in their own reserves. And you have to remember, Bitcoin was designed to be decentralized. This means no single person, company, or government should have control over it. Instead, the network should be run by miners, developers, and people all over the world using their computers to track transactions. This makes Bitcoin fair and resistant to censorship. So why is BlackRock's role in this worrying? Well, in BlackRock's ETF filing, there's a statement that raises eyebrows. It goes, in the event of a hard fork, the sponsor will use its sole discretion to determine which network should be considered the appropriate network for the trust's purposes. So what does that mean? If Bitcoin splits into 2 versions, BlackRock would decide which version they support. This gives them a lot of power to influence the future of Bitcoin, even if it goes against the wishes of the Bitcoin community. But that possible future event wouldn't be Bitcoin's first hard fork. There are several other versions of Bitcoin that now exist. There's Bitcoin Cash SV, Bitcoin Diamond, the list goes on. So even if BlackRock does force a hard fork, they can't force you to use their new version of it. So here's the problem with centralization. Bitcoin sometimes splits into 2 versions when there are disagreements about its rules. These splits are called forks, and they're usually resolved by the community deciding which version to support. But if BlackRock has the power to pick a side, they might choose what benefits them, not what's best for Bitcoin. Their SEC filing even says there is no guarantee that the sponsor will choose the digital asset that is ultimately the most valuable fork. Now, this means BlackRock could back the version of Bitcoin that aligns with their agenda, even if it harms decentralization. And you'll have to remember, they'll also have control over the Bitcoin on the network that they decide against, at least to some extent. It wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that they'd sell their holdings across all the companies to extract as much value as they can out of it, which would most likely push that fork into one of the most brutal bear markets of all time. It would require a lot of community strength to recover from that, but we know how strong the Bitcoin community is, And if that fight is brought to us, it will be the moment we've all been waiting for. And obviously, with BlackRock's investments in mining companies, that gives them quite significant influence over Bitcoin's core operations. With a potential 11.5% of the network's mining power tied to companies that they invest in, they could play a big role in how decisions are made. Larry Fink has even given us a warning in the past. He said, at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
If BlackRock can shape global corporate policies, they might also try to shape Bitcoin, turning it into something they control rather than a tool for financial freedom. So what could happen if Bitcoin does become centralized? Well, Bitcoin was created to give power to the people, not big corporations. If institutions like BlackRock gain too much control, Bitcoin risks becoming just another centralized system, like the traditional banks it was meant to replace. But if companies like BlackRock take control, regular people who mine Bitcoin on a small scale or invest in small amounts might lose their voice. Decisions could favor profits for big investors instead of what's best for the community. But there is a way for us to fight back. Bitcoin's strength comes from its global community. Miners, developers, and regular users all work together to keep it decentralized. History has shown that the Bitcoin community can stand up to challenges and protect the network. Here's what you can do. You can run a Bitcoin node. A node is a computer that helps validate Bitcoin transactions. By running a node, you help make the network stronger and more decentralized. You can also start mining. Join a mining pool or mine on your own. This helps distribute the power of mining to more people instead of a few large companies. And if you're going to join a mining pool, try to find a smaller one, maybe. Ocean Pool is trying to stick to the decentralized ethos of Bitcoin and is one of few pools that don't require KYC. You can also use decentralized tools. Choose wallets and exchanges that promote Bitcoin's decentralization. Avoid platforms that are controlled by big institutions. The Bitcoin community always has the final say. At the end of the day, it's the users who decide which version of Bitcoin thrives. By staying involved, we can keep Bitcoin true to its original mission, but it's not going to be without a fight. So here's what's at stake. BlackRock's growing power in Bitcoin could lead to centralization, from controlling mining power to influencing forks. Their actions could transform Bitcoin into something controlled by the elite rather than the people. And Larry Fink's words, at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors, could be a strong warning to keep your eyes out for forks ahead. Bitcoin was created to give people financial freedom. It's up to us to work together and protect what Satoshi built. Run a node, mine Bitcoin, and support decentralized tools. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think BlackRock is planning to fork Bitcoin? And don't forget to check out our video on the current state of Bitcoin mining so you can see yet more reasons as to why we need to act now.